What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 3 of the Been There Doing That podcast, where I'm figuring this out week by week, and you're joining me for the ride. I hope you all enjoyed the first guest, Mark. I had a great conversation with him. Really enjoyed that, and I remembered why I love doing that sort of thing and why I started the podcast. One key takeaway is that I need to put my microphone further away from my face. Because I get excited and I'm a really loud person. So when I have a guest, you might have had to pause the episode and perhaps you turned the volume down. Maybe you stopped listening altogether. And I don't blame you for any of that because it was kind of loud. So, now I learned. Listen, this is what's so great about you and me right here, right now. I'm sitting here in your living room, your bed. Maybe you're on your commute to work. Maybe you're at the office and we're together right now. While I figure this shit out, you're along for the ride. And this goes back to what I was saying from the start. You don't wait till you got it all perfectly figured out and then you start letting people in, getting feedback, because no one's listening to this shit anyway in the early days. So it's a great time to work out the kinks and really teach the lessons you learn. So if you're enjoying this podcast, or if you even made it this far, please shoot me a message and just say, hey, I heard you on episode 3 or whatever, and just any feedback you have about the podcast, let me know, because I'm so excited about this thing. It's making me so happy already, and I don't know, man. I always it's giving me structure. It's giving me structure that I need in a chaotic life that I live. For example, with social media, I will just do random posts, and I'll think of an idea, be like, oh, how to use ChatGPT for business, or why you need a night routine, or why you should be meditating and reflecting and resetting, all that sort of stuff. And I'm just always kind of randomly thinking of clip ideas, posting it sporadically. It's not structured, and I need some structure because, like I said, everything in life is so chaotic. So what this podcast does is it forces me to record a long-form content every, let's say, between Friday and Sunday. I start recording. And then from there, I just pop it into video, BeYu.ai. Maybe they'll sponsor me one day. Really great tool where I just put the whole video, I upload it, and then it gives me a bunch of short form TikTok type clips. So then that becomes the content I just post. And then my life becomes easier. My content creation game becomes more consistent and structured. I just went on a tangent here. Maybe I'll tell you what this episode's about. So first of all, yes, I will either lower my face volume or I'll lower the microphone when I have guests. But today I would like to jump in a little bit into some of my experience and journey as an entrepreneur, starting businesses, my failures, what it taught me, where it got me, and how I'm extremely fulfilled and happy today based on my path of failures, because it's not a failure if at the end of the day you keep going. It's only a failure if you quit and give up and just settle for a shitty life. In my head, that's the only way anything is a failure. Because if you fuck things up, and then say something goes terribly wrong, maybe your new business flops, maybe you fuck up a relationship because you're trying something new, you're expanding, you're going outside of your comfort zone. I don't see that as a failure. I see that as growth. And at least you're trying stuff. And anyone who judges you and says, yo, that sucked, or what the fuck, it's like, the ones who judge are the ones who aren't trying shit. They're the ones sitting in their parents' basement with cheesy Dorito fingers playing video games all day and making nothing of their lives. And I say that as a joke because in reality, esports is a huge industry. So actually, if they are playing cheesy finger video games, that actually could be a career in this day and age. So, but you get what I'm saying. I'm lazy people who are just like to judge everyone else. So be proud of yourself if you're failing. Be fucking proud of yourself if you're failing, because that means you're doing. And that's why we're been there doing that. I try to squeeze it in there. We can't always get it right. Cool. So FunFinders was the first company I started with Gallows, my best friend ever, who will be a guest on this. What happened was around 2016 or 2017, I was working a job in IT consulting. And it just was not fulfilling at all for me. Some people might really like that stuff, and listen, if you're happy, then whatever you're doing is great. But for me, it wasn't stimulating for me. It wasn't what my interests or skills or passion really lend to. So it was just a job for me. and I was just collecting a paycheck. It's not that I actually still went above and beyond because I just kind of, when I'm working a job, I feel a sense of responsibility. I have a high work ethic, but I was doing something I really wasn't happy with. I knew I needed to start my own thing, start my own business, be my own boss, the financial freedom, the flexibility of schedule, not being told what to do, all that stuff. I knew I needed that, but I wasn't sure where to begin. So what I started doing was networking, going to networking events, conferences, things like that, which I highly recommend to everyone who maybe you're considering what to do with your life. Maybe you want to change. Maybe you're not sure where to start. I say just go to events in your area, check out Eventbrite, check out Meetup.com, search for something you're passionate about, and just start meeting people. Maybe you want to do technology, maybe startups, entrepreneurship. There's something for you. So I heard of Propeller. It was Propeller at the time. Now it's called Propellify Innovation Festival in Hoboken, New Jersey. So me and Gallus went. I was maybe looking for some inspiration for businesses to start or connections. I wasn't taking it super seriously. I really wanted to go there and have some drinks and have some fun. I wanted to party, okay? Listen, little thing you don't know about me, maybe you do now. You're along the ride with me. You got to know your boy likes to have some fun. It's in my blood. I just enjoy living a fun life, even when I'm working, whatever. So went there for the drinks, left with the rest of my life. That's a little dramatic, but you'll see what I'm talking about. So anyway, the drinks were like $11. I had just gotten out of college at that time, starting my job, entry-level salary. I was like, I'm not paying $11 for a drink. In VIP, they're only $2. Opportunity. So I was like, listen, gals, we're getting the cheaper drinks. Let's stand by the VIP area. Just wait for my cue. When I make a move, follow me. So I saw a camera crew getting ready to go in there. There's like maybe 8 people. And they walk up to the entrance of the VIP. There was a little bit of confusion with the security and them. The moment I sensed that confusion, I motherfucking pounced. I pounced in a positive way. I grabbed Gal, said, let's go. And I just squeezed right in there with the camera crew. I was the crew, I am the crew, and I still will be the crew forever. Forever and ever and ever. So we rolled in there with the crew, no looking back. We got our $2 drinks, couple of them, cranberry vodkas, having a good old time. Saw this woman interviewing a bunch of people with this really fancy camera equipment and mics, and it looked all legit, and they were having fun, like almost like the news. And I was like, yo, what the hell's going on there? I look at Gallus and I said, we got to get interviewed. This is our chance to be famous and to create something huge. He, engineering mind, spoke a little sense. He's like, Ben, we don't have anything to share. We don't have a business. What are we going to get interviewed about? And I said, don't worry about that. Just follow me. Let's just see where this goes. So I walk up to her. I'm going to give her shout outs. January Barnes. She's awesome. The company is called Parlay Me. She was interviewing tech founders, startups, and still a friend to this day. So that connection has been awesome. But essentially, I said, yeah, what are you interviewing? And what are these interviews you're doing? What is it all about? What is this for? And she said, we're interviewing the top founders, techies, startups, and just kind of seeing, what's going on today, how they built their business, what their plans are, and what the future of technology looks like. And I said, cool. We're actually founders, and we're starting a business ourselves. We are fun consultants. All right. Just kind of making it up. Just made it up on myself. I started pitching this. I'm like, yeah, like you get your personal trainer at the gym. We're kind of your personal trainers for fun. We build you personal itineraries based on your city and your interests and what you like to do, your party size, all that. I just started riffing with it. And I was really believing in it. And then she's like, I was just getting ready to wrap for the day, but if you don't mind, I would love to interview you as my final thing. You guys are awesome. And I said, you're awesome. Let's do this. I'm like, Gallus, come on, we're getting interviewed. By the way, I'll put the video in the show notes. It's out there. This happened. This isn't fake. All right. So we got on in the interview, and she starts asking us questions, and I just start making up this thing. I just start making up, and then we start going back and forth and formulating the name. And she's like, oh, so you guys are like FunFinders. And I was like, FunFinders. Yeah, that's exactly what we are. And the next day, I realized she had a huge distribution, over 100,000 people that she was sharing these interviews with. And I'm just like, yo, that's out in the world. We got to fucking create this thing now. Now we actually have to back into making a business. And we did. I mean, listen, it wasn't it wasn't we made some money with it. I wouldn't call it a successful venture, but this was the kickstart of my entrepreneurial career. And from here, everything in my life that led me to where I am today all starts with FunFinders and goes back to FunFinders. And I'll say it on here, episode 3 today. One day when I'm making the money I want to be making, I'm bringing FunFinders back. So if you want to be on Team FunFinders and help me respark that when the time is right, let me know. But anyway, we got to work, just started, with our engineering background, we had a lot of experience creating business plans because we had a couple entrepreneur classes. So started with the business plan, which everyone, if you are starting a business and you're like, I got this idea, let's do it. Always start with a business plan. If you don't have a good business plan template, message me or look on Google or ask ChatGPT. But essentially, this forces you to answer the questions you might have not have thought of before. Like, who is my target market? Like, what problem am I solving? What technology am I going to be using? What's the pricing model? What are my financial forecasts? What team do I need? What is my initial capital? So all these things you got to be thinking about. And we built that. And then we just started going out and like making connections with these skydive places, arcades, like go-kart places, and just trying to form partnerships where we would list them in our directory of fun, and then get a kickback from them for people we brought in. And then, at the start we were doing fun things on social media and just like recording it and just like sharing a feed of like cool places to go in New York City and stuff. And even when I had friends from around the world visiting, I would build them itineraries. Like I was a CEO, but I was sitting there building manually, researching all these different spots, like building itineraries. I still have a couple. So by the way, I got a really good one for New York and London. So if you're visiting any of those and you want an itinerary of fun stuff, holla at your boy. So, I was meeting all these different people from there. And though I would say a year or two later, FunFinders ultimately flopped. I just didn't have the experience yet, I guess, besides the experience part, 1 in 10 startups fail anyway. So the odds are against you, which is why I always say, if you want to start something, you better have the grit to keep going when shit fails, because you're likely not getting it right on the first try. That's a lottery ticket. So really what it comes down to is if you want to start something, you need to have the agility to, when things fail, you need to adapt and, recalibrate and be able to pivot. And whether that's with that company or starting a new thing, you got to be able to keep going and constantly reevaluating, adjusting, and adapting. That's a key factor for an entrepreneur, and it's something I've had to do for many years before I got to where I am today. So, through the FunFinders, I went to some local events that looked fun to me. Jersey City Tech Meetup. I found it in my area. I was living in Jersey City at the time. So I went to some of these events. I met the guy running it, Dan Sullivan. Shout out to Dan. Great guy. And also shout out to Aaron Price, who runs Propelify, because I forgot to mention that after I snuck in and did all that, then the following year I became a part of their team and actually helped put the festival together for the next couple of years, did some MCing, and really learned the ins and outs of events and entrepreneurship from that community. So shout out to Aaron, shout out to Propelify and all my friends I made, because that was kind of the kickstart of my journey. Just goes to show you never know what opportunities you find. So go to events, and I'm not going to advise you to sneak into a VIP section, but I advise you to do the right thing. I'll leave it at that. Where was I? So Jersey City Tech Meetup, I met Dan, and then, brief interaction. I just ran up to him at one of his events. I was like, listen, I know you're busy. Everyone's trying to talk to you. I just wanted to say, my name is Ben, introduce myself. Would love to collaborate, list some of your events in our directory. Cool. We had about a 30-second exchange, shook hands, and said goodbye. I think I went to Guatemala a couple weeks after that. Very awesome. Very awesome. My first my first South American trip. That could be a whole episode. We actually, in Guatemala, me and Gallus actually rented a mansion and turned it into a pop-up hostel for the night. You could only get there via boat. It was so secluded. It was like kind of scary out in the jungle. But we had 10 people that we met from our travels who actually took a boat out and came partying with us at our pop-up hostel called Sploinks Magoo. You think I'm making this shit up, probably, because it sounds insane, but I'm not making up a damn thing. So, get back from Guatemala, get a call from Dan. He says, I want to chat with you. I'm thinking, cool. He probably wants to collaborate. He wants to get listed on the directory, do some events. So, call him. He says, I'm moving out of Jersey City. I need someone to take this thing over. I know our interaction was very brief, but I think you're the perfect guy for it. and I want to see if you would like to take over this business. I have the members already. I have the email list. I have the speakers and everything. You just need to take it over and just make it yours. And I couldn't believe it. I was like, whoa, I've never run an event before. I mean, I had the experience with Propelify, but I never like owned my own event, speakers, panels, all that. And I was like, damn, that's crazy. Spoke with my mom, spoke with a couple friends and trusted people. And, the common advice I got, which in my heart makes total sense, is you could always bail on this or give it to someone else, but you don't get opportunities like this often in life. You have to take this. And I'm like, you know what, fucking right, I do. I have to. As scary as it was, completely outside of my comfort zone, sometimes in life, that's where the best things come from. And I would say taking over the Jersey City Tech Meetup has propelled me into the startup entrepreneur tech world, because from there, I had all these founders, CEOs, executives, heavy hitters that I had a list of already and had the name with Jersey City Tech Meetup. So I was hitting them up, doing panels with them. And just like I had that episode with Mark last week, I would have 3 or 4 people up there, different topics, everything from podcasting, AI, AR, VR, cannabis, blockchain, you name it. Whatever topics were interesting to me, I would compile a panel, get an event space, usually sponsored. You don't need money to do a lot of these things I'm talking about, just another side. If you're thinking, well, I don't have the money to do this, you don't need it. Hit me up if you need consulting on events. But so where were we going here? Where were we going? I always losing the train of thought. We were in a flow and then you don't go. Okay, so took over the Jersey City Tech Meetup, met a ton of people. My network became larger and larger, at least my local network in Jersey City and New York City. And I started getting clout. People started hitting me up and wanted to do things with me. They wanted to be part of my events. They started to know my name in Jersey City, and it was awesome. And I loved it, and it lit me up. And, COVID happened. And even when COVID happened, I switched gears to virtual events, and I even did paid virtual events. I did these Instagram lives, interviewing founders and learning their stories and seeing the stuff they're doing. So this is a huge part of my life. And we're still doing a couple light happy hours with it. It's more of on the back burner right now based on some of the other projects I have going on. But that has been huge for me. So, all right, in all that time, FunFinders flopped. But without FunFinders, I never would have connected with the Jersey City Tech Meetup and started running that thing and started running my own awesome events community with over 3,000 members. So FunFinders wasn't a fucking fail. It would have been a fail if I stopped and then just went back to my job and stopped trying different things in my life, but I stopped FunFinders and moved on to Jersey City Tech Meetup. COVID happened. I got laid off of my job. People were like, yo, I'm sorry that happened. That sucks, man. What are you going to do? And I honestly was filled with pure joy and opportunity. And I was like, I'm never getting another fucking job again in my life. And I didn't, by the way. And honestly, the last 3-4 years have been super tough. I've had so many hard times and things were not going well on this entrepreneurial journey. But I made a commitment and I said, there's no fucking going back. And after eating shit and really struggling for a couple of years, things are working now. It's happening. And it's unbelievable, but this is just a testament to what I always say, and I'll always say on this podcast. You have to keep going if you really want it and you need the thing you're going for and the life you want to live. You literally just have to keep going, no matter how hard it gets. Sometimes you got to take a step back. Maybe you need a little weekend away, go in nature, whatever, but you got to keep going. Otherwise, it'll all be in vain. So, just backtracking a little bit here, got laid off my job through the tech. All right. Right before I got laid off my job, I also started working with an awesome team in India who were editing my social media content and helped me with my whole personal brand. Shout out Gaurav, very awesome guy. I've worked with him for many years and really appreciate him. And shout out Lisa as well, who's helped me with BeYu Media, which is my social media marketing company, is now on our team with some of this generative AI initiatives. So shout out to all these people. He was working with me on my social media. I got laid off my job, and now I had 2 things. Well, I had no job. So Jersey City Tech Meetup was making some money, barely enough to let me survive, and the pandemic just happened, so I wasn't doing in-person events. But here's what I have. A team in India who did social media marketing work at an affordable price. And I had a network of a bunch of founders, entrepreneurs, small business owners who need help with social media and marketing and websites. Because I have the tech meetup over here where I just started interviewing all these people and they start trusting me and my brand and the name, and people like me. I mean, when you're networking, it's really great to get people to like you, because even if you have nothing you want from them then, and I don't suggest going in with an agenda, generally just be good to people and they'll like you, and ask questions and be curious about them and they'll like you. Because if they like you, then when you go to sell them something, they're much more likely psychologically to say yes and make that happen. So I had a team, I had founders who needed something, and I put that together. And BeYu Media was born. BeYu, like Ben Yerkeson, BeYu. You get it? I only knew that was in my name because Gorav did that with my personal brand. When I said like Ben Yerkeson, it was like BeYu, Ben Yerkeson. I was like, oh shit. I'm always telling people to be you, be yourself, do that thing, and it's actually in my name. So that's kind of crazy. Started the social media marketing agency. That was I learned so much. Now I was a full-time entrepreneur completely on my own, managing clients. A lot of people from my tech meetup who joined me and had me build them websites, run their campaigns, things like that, and then a lot of word of mouth from there. Worked for a year or so. Then I dabbled in a few other startups. I won't go into each one in detail, but there's like three or four other ones that I tried. Either it didn't work with the product or it didn't work with the team. Even one that I had to leave actually on my own terms because my gut instinct was telling me things weren't going right, and I just wasn't gelling with the team anymore. And at first I tried to be like, I just got to be more of a team player. I just got to make this work. And then actually, honestly, after an acid trip, I had a revelation. I had a revelation where I was the master of my own universe, and I saw myself as the king of my world. And I'm like, I can't get fucked around by people. I need to take control of my life if I'm ever going to live the life that I want. So the next day, I left that company, and I started BeYu Labs in the crypto Web3 space. I'm going to have a couple crypto guests on here so we could dive into NFTs and crypto and all that, which is a whole crazy fucking thing, especially right now. The Bitcoin halving just happened. A lot of activity with Bitcoin NFTs, but I'm not going to go into all that right now. I got very deep into the Web3 world after investing $1,000 into a crypto called Balls, which my buddy Sammy is like, dude, I'm on the team. This is going to take off. And I hadn't invested in crypto before in my life. I've been looking to kind of do a risky investment with a low risk amount of money, but potential high reward. So I'm like, okay, I'll put $1,000 into this. He had a pre-sale. So hard to figure out how to set up a crypto wallet and do this and that and transfer money from one bank account to another, turn it into BNB, and then you have to convert the BNB into Balls. And it's so complicated. Most normal humans won't do it and don't do it, which is why it's not super mainstream yet because it's still pretty early. I mean, now they're starting to let you get crypto on Robinhood and stuff. But besides the point, put $1,000 in, and then over the course, this is in 2021, over the course of a month or two of the wildest roller coaster of my life, my first fucking crypto investment ever, that $1,000 of Balls turned into approximately $250,000. That's right. That's right. And you might be thinking, wow, Ben, that's awesome. You must feel good having all that money. What'd you do? Buy a house? Did you get a car? Maybe you took a nice trip. Maybe you invested it somewhere else. The answer is I lost it all. Okay? It's gone. And I can talk about it now and not feel so hurt anymore, but goddamn, was it tough. Oh shit, yeah, I'm like, oh my God. Okay, but I wasn't ready for it at the time. The universe was telling me I wasn't ready for it at the time, and I held my balls too long because I held them all the way until they went up, 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 and then completely crashed. I mean, listen, I took out $2,000 at one point, so I at least got my money back, but should have been more, but that's okay because I learned then, and again, no failures, just lessons, because after that I kept trying to get the next Balls, and I kept getting into all these different projects and kept getting fucking scammed because it no longer was my friend Sammy telling me to get into this. It was strangers, and I didn't know the space, and I was putting money in here and putting money in there, and they just stole it and ran with it, and I was like, fuck this, dude. if everyone's just going to scam me when I'm trying to get like my bag, I'm just making my own project. And that's kind of where BeYu Labs was born, where essentially was creating a community for entrepreneurs, because now I'm like in this tech entrepreneurial world. I love that space. It was a community for entrepreneurs to learn how to create NFTs, learn about crypto, make money with NFT projects. So we were building that community. Miles was an awesome partner then. You know, we did events all around New York. We were starting to build a name for ourselves. We minted out 5,000 NFTs at one point. So, I mean, it was cool and a really great experience. This is my first business where I actually like raised funds myself. Never done that before. I fucking don't like it. I never want to be, I want to make so much money one day where I'm the angel investor and I can invest in your startups. That's my goal here. But I do not enjoy the pitching game. There's a lot of back and forth. They tell you to change things. You spend 3 months listening to the things they say, and then they ghost you, like, or just bail. And yeah, but I'm grateful that we were able to raise enough funds to get this thing off the ground. So shout out to all of our investors who made this possible for us. Built a team. You know, again, this is more experience I'm learning along the way. I built a team. Got an artist, got a couple marketing guys, people helping manage the community, devs, a team of founders. Ryan Harris was an awesome lead dev doing the smart contracts. And listen, this is, again, I'm going to get to the part where at the end of that year, the crypto market crashed completely. And a whole year of me not paying myself, not paying the founding team, then the project just failed. And we had investors now, and it's a whole different game. So that was my biggest failure to date. The market crashed, and it fell apart. But again, there's nothing lost. I learned so fucking much from that experience, man. I like building a team, raising money, like really the ins and outs of business. And ultimately, at the end of this, I went to an event in New York, an NFT and jazz event I heard about. So I was like, that's cool. I like NFTs, I like jazz. Went to the event. And it turns out Mr. Frank Casal was hosting the event, and his son Danny was there. I didn't know Frank. I didn't know Danny. I just saw him up there on stage talking. The guy looked really important. He looked important. He looked like he knew what was up. I immediately respected him. I didn't know why. And his son was up there talking about NFTs, and I was like, I got to connect with this guy. I don't know why. I just had a gut feel. I'm like, I got to get with this guy, figure something out. So that whole event, I tend to do this thing at events where I'm not meeting everyone in the room. I kind of have my eye on a few targets, and I'm like, I just got to focus and manifest that meeting. So that's what I did at that event. I didn't meet fucking anyone besides Frank. I was just kind of waiting until the event ended, died down. Went up to him, shook his hand. I just said, hey, fantastic event. I also host events in New York City. I'm in the Web3 space. I would love to collaborate on something. Can I please get your info? Gave me his number. On my way home, I searched him, looked him up. 30,000 connections on LinkedIn, global network of 150,000 people. His son Danny, who was there, has millions of followers on Instagram, is an influencer, animator, had a huge NFT project, and I'm just like, whoa, this family is the real deal, and I want to connect with this guy. And he did a lot. On his site, it said things like, you know, support with marketing and helping your NFT project, and that's exactly what we needed. We needed somebody who could really help us go to market and get this thing right. So he'll tell you to this day, I chased him down. I kept texting him saying, can we meet? Can we meet? Can we talk? He wasn't chasing me. I am chasing him. And this just goes to show you in life, you got to be the one to go after the thing. No one's going to chase you. You got to be the one that's following up. And if you just kind of hit someone up, they don't answer, you're like, oh, well, that didn't happen. You're not going to get game-changing results. I kept chasing him until I got the in-person meeting, met him at the Smith in New York City. He bought me 2 Allagash Whites, and we split French fries. From that moment forward, we've been business partners. He's been my mentor ever since then. Because we talked, we were aligned on our visions. He joined forces with BeYu Labs. He became co-founder with James, and they were on the founding team. That just lasted a few more months before the whole crypto market crashed. But after that, Frank said, Ben, I'm not letting you go down with the ship. You're coming with me. And since then, that was early end of 2022. Yeah, that was the end of 2022. So I've been rolling with him since, and he brought me in a couple different projects, and then ultimately I just worked hard, proved myself with him, and then now I'm chief of staff, and I actually am a partner and product manager, marketing, biz dev guy across a couple different generative AI startups, and we're working together on some consulting gigs and doing some really, really big things. He's introduced me to his global network. This guy knows everybody, so experienced, and just has so much knowledge. I'm learning a million things from him every single day. So this is a gratitude to Frank Casal right now, because I'm where I am in life because I met Frank and he took me under his wing and he's been mentoring me and showing me the ropes of how this shit works. And I'm growing so much every day, and I'm like finding myself more just like even naturally getting in tune with what it takes to build business, sell things, go to market, things like that. And it's just becoming more natural because I'm just spending so much time with them. What's the lesson here? The crypto project failed. I spent a year on that thing. I had investors, built a team. It was devastating. That all went to nothing. I had no money. I was out of money. Personally, I dipped into my 401k. Credit card debt out the ass. I'm just being vulnerable here because for those of you who think it's smooth sailing, there's painful nights, and there's a reason why a lot of entrepreneurs commit suicide. I don't mean to make light of it, and I'm not implying that I was there at all, but it can be really dark and low. So I just share all of this to say, you need a support system. You need people around you if you want to step into this world. And also it's good to have a job making money while starting something on the side, so you're not completely dependent on the money, and then you can kind of shift to doing that more full-time. I say all this to say that the crypto BeYu Labs, that's not a failure. It would be a failure if I crumbled and gave up. But now I work with Frank. I'm learning so much. I'm making money, and I'm getting this experience that's just irreplaceable. And all because followed the trail of breadcrumbs, and one thing led to another, and now I'm working with them, and I'm just so happy, and I really love my life. I love meeting up with Frank. We meet in the city, Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, a couple days a week, and we have fun. We work hard, and we just enjoy life. So that brings me to today, man. I mean, I just started this podcast because I like to talk about some of these things and talk about the journey and share some of these things. And I'm going to share everything, the ups and the downs, because I want everyone to stay humble out there. I think some people see others on social media and they think, oh, they got it all figured out. And some people are even hitting me up lately. They're like, yo, you got the life I want to live. You're so inspirational. So I'm just going to make sure I continue to stay humble and share my really difficult couple of years where I was fucking sleeping on some people's couches, living out of a bag. I'm telling you, man, it's not all glory, but the key is consistency, persistency, and just not giving up. Because when all this shit was happening, I was at my lowest. I just said, I'm just going to keep fucking going, man. You can't put this much into something and get nothing back. You can't. It's impossible. And that's the law of the universe, baby. And here it is, proving itself out, manifesting it, and it's my life is actualizing the life that I want, the flexibility, the freedom, the fun, the fulfillment. It's all here now. So I just wanted to share that, just to kind of give you a little overview of my journey, the failures that aren't failures, and the lessons, and how, based on your perspective and mindset, you can turn any failure into something that really takes you a long way. So I'll leave you with this, y'all. I appreciate you listening to the podcast. I'm not going to stop anytime soon because I really love doing these. If you are feeling down, if you're feeling like the thing you're working on isn't getting you there, you're not getting there fast enough, you're stuck, just remember, man, it's about action over time and not giving up. It's a simple formula of the universe. Action over time. Make sacrifices, put in the time, and don't give up. And things will have to work out. As long as you're learning, shifting, adapting, and growing along the way. So that's it. Appreciate y'all. Be sure, if you enjoyed this, to like, subscribe. I appreciate any 5-star ratings. If you want to rate it 4 stars, just don't rate it at all. Just go away, please. Only 5, baby. So appreciate you. We're going to have an awesome guest again next week. Thanks for tuning in. And I almost made the fucking episode without messing up. It's all right. This is raw. You're getting the raw version. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. I will see you next week. I'm been there doing that. I press this button every time. It doesn't work.